Good morning, dear students. This is 7th Standard Science, chapter number 17, Forests, our lifeline. You know, students, about the forest. Here in this chapter, we are going to see the detailed knowledge about the forest. Now, one evening, Bhujo entered the park with an elderly person. He introduced him to his friends. Professor Ahmed, who is that person? Professor Ahmed was a scientist working in the university. He was the scientist and he was working in the university. The children started playing with while Professor Ahmed sat on a bench in the corner. He was tired as he had participated in the Golden Jubilee celebrations of the town. Actually, the he introduced Miss Bhujo introduced him to his friends. That is Professor Ahmed. He was scientist and working in the university. And after that, actually, Professor Ahmed sat on a bench in the corner as he was very tired because he had participated in the Golden Jubilee celebrations of town, and the children were playing when he was sitting there. So after a while, the children also came and sat around him. They wanted to know about the celebrations. Professor Ahmed told them that after the cultural program, the senior people discussed the town's unemployment problem. What was happened there? Children wanted to know about the celebrations, and Professor Ahmed told them that in that means after that program, after cultural program, there were some senior people and they were discussed about the unemployment problem. And actually, this problem is getting just because of the more number of population, increase in population. So a plan was proposed to put up a factory by clearing an area of the forest just outside the town. Actually, this is one reason of unemployment, that just because of the increase in population, the people are not having job, okay, earning source they don't have. That's why they are planning that. Means a plan was proposed to put up a factory, and where to put up the factory. So for that we have to clear, miss they are thinking that they have to clear an area of the forest just outside the town. So this would give the increasing population of town a chance to get jobs. So what is the reason behind it? A chance to get the job. That's why they want to clear the area of the forest. The children were very surprised when Professor Ahmed told them that many people had objected to this idea. So why the many people had objected to this idea? So here answer is here in this chapter only. So this is because the forest serve as green lungs and water purifying systems in nature. So what is the detailed meaning of the green lungs and water purifying systems in nature? Its answer is also Professor Ahmed has given. He has explained in this chapter only, so you will get it. Okay, so Professor Ahmed explained the children were confused. Professor Ahmed realized that the children had not visited a forest. The children also wanted to know more about the forest. So they decided to visit it with Professor Ahmed. Now we can see, students. So in lesson we'll get its answer. So why the forest is called the green lungs? Its answer we will get. Now, but before that we'll see this. Visit to a forest. One Sunday morning, the children packed a few things like a knife, a hand lens, a stick, a notebook, and walked together through a forest trail near a village. Trail means road, okay? So that is the way, forest way near a village. So children has packed few things and they walked together through a forest trail near a village. On their way, they met Tibu, a young boy of their age group of nearby village, who was taking cattle for grazing along with his aunt. He was very agile. How he was? He was very agile, running here and there to keep the herd together. To keep the herd together. When he saw the children, Tibu also started walking along with them, while his aunt went on a different path, and he was actually when he saw the children, Tibu was started walking with them, and actually his aunt went on a different path. So as soon as they entered the forest, as soon as they entered the forest, Tibu raised his hand and signaled them to keep quiet because noise could disturb the animals living in the forest. Students, so as soon as they entered, the group of the children with Tibu and Professor Ahmed, as soon as they entered the forest, Tibu raised his hand and signaled them to keep quiet because noise could disturb the animals living in the forest. Means he is telling to that children that animals are living here and just because of our noise they can be disturbed. So please keep quiet. So Tibu then took them to a place at a height to show them to broad view of the forest. And we know students, if we are going at a height of any place, so we can see the broad view of that place. So children were surprised because they could not see any land. The different treetops had formed green. The different tree tops had formed green cover over the land. Means over the land, what are the different tree tops had formed, and this is like a cover, green cover over the land. However, the cover was not uniformly green. However, the cover was not uniformly green. The environment was peaceful. How is the environment? The environment was peaceful and a cool breeze was blowing. This made children quite fresh and happy. Obviously, if environment is cool, if everything is peaceful environment is there and cool breeze was blowing, and if cool breeze is blowing everywhere, so obviously we are feeling fresh and happy. Like that the students were feeling, the children were feeling that time. So while coming down, they got excited on hearing a sudden sound of birds and some noise from the top branches of the trees. While coming down, they got excited on hearing a sudden sound of birds. Sudden sound of birds and some noise from the top branches of the trees, where generally the birds are sitting on the trees and they were making the actually their sound the children can hear some noise from the top branches of the trees. Thibaut told them to relax since it was a normal phenomenon here. How is the environment in that in the forest? It is actually, this is the normal phenomenon here, so please relax, like the Tibu is telling to the children, that group. Because of the children's presence, what happened there? Because of the children's presence, some monkeys had climbed higher up on the trees where they disturbed the birds. On trees already birds were sitting, and just because of the children's presence, some monkeys had climbed up higher up on the trees and they were disturbed the birds. Just because of children's presence, monkeys get disturbed, and after just because of this, birds also get disturbed. So animals often give this type of warning call to alert other animals. Students, and just actually this also you have seen, and students, miss, this is just one kind of warning, just to call warning call to alert the other animals. Means in the forest we have seen that if birds and other animals are making noise, so something is happening there, so they are getting alert. Okay, so Tibu also told that many other animals like boar, means this is like a swine, pig, bison, means ox, jackals like fox, porcupine, elephants live in the deeper areas of the forest. These animals are live in the deeper areas of the forest. So Professor Ahmed cautions, means instructed children that they should not go deep into the forest. So Professor Ahmed already instructed to the children that they should not go to deep into the forest. So Bhujo and Paheli remembered that they have studied about forest as an example of a habitat in class 6. Already we have learned about the habitat. Okay, so dwelling place in standard 6th. So they could see now how the forest provide a home for many animals and plants. They could see now how the forest provides a home for many animals and plants. So in the forest, not only the plants are there, so but animals are also living. Now the land where the children were walking was uneven and covered with many trees. The land is uneven and it is covered with many trees. So Tibu helped them to identify sal, teak, simal, shisham, neem, palash, fig, khair, amla, bamboo, kachnar. Actually, these are just kinds of plants. So Tibu helped them to identify these different kinds of plant. Tibu was telling the kinds of plants to the children. So Professor Ahmed pointed out why Tibu was telling, because we know that students in that group only children and Professor Ahmed was there. But as Tibu is a agile boy, he was just roaming here and there, as his daily's job is just taking the cattle for the grazing over there. So Tibu knows each and everything, means maximum information Tibu was having, because he was agile boy, he was roaming with the cattle here and there. So he know maximum things, he know maximum information he was telling to the children group. Okay, so the Tibu helped them to identify the different kinds of plants, and he was only the telling that sal, teak, semal and other parts of the plants and kinds of plants. So Professor Ahmed pointed out that there are several other trees, shrubs, herbs and grasses in the forest. You know, students, about the shrubs and herbs. So the trees were also covered with different types of creepers and climbers. Students, you just look at outside of your home and just try to see, that means many trees are there which are covered with different types of creepers and climbers. Maybe near your home house also it can be there. So the sun was barely visible through the leaves of the trees, making it quite dark inside the forest. The sun was barely visible through the leaves of the trees, making it quite dark inside the forest. Inside the forest, we know that many trees are there, and as the shrubs and herbs and grasses are there, trees are there, and they are covered with creepers and climbers. So the sun was barely visible, and actually, we can see that the dark inside the forest, just because of this kind of trees. Okay, having creepers and climbers on it. Now activity 17.1. Observe the various things in your home and make a list of those which are made from material which may have been obtained from the forest. So which may have been obtained from the forest. So from the forest, maximum is wood. What? Because trees are there, so we are getting wood. Okay, so we can think about it. So you might have many wooden items on your list, like plywood, firewood, boxes, paper, matchsticks and furniture. These things at your home only are these are the daily use things. Okay, so do you know that gum, oils, spices, fodder for animals, rubber also we can say, students, and medicinal plants are also some of the products which we get from the forest. What we get from the forest? Gum, oils, spices, fodder for animals, different kinds of wood and medicinal plants are also some of the products, example, etc., which we are getting from the forest. This is the general. So Shaila wondered who would have planted these trees in this forest. Who would have planted these trees? Okay, generally we have seen in our garden at near about our house. So some miss, especially in our garden, when you are planted, that time only the plant is miss those plants we want. They are miss what you are planting that. So she's Miss Shaila wondered who would have planted these trees. Many trees are there in the forest, so who would have planted? So Professor Ahmed replied that in nature, trees produce enough seeds. The forest floor provides favorable conditions for them to germinate and develop into seedlings and saplings. Who is provides favorable condition? The forest floor. The forest floor provides favorable conditions for them to germinate and develop into seedlings and saplings. Okay, so some grow up into trees. Actually, the forest floor provides favorable conditions But students, we have seen that just because of the air also, okay, just because of the air also means seeds can scattered, okay, here and there. Birds are also taking seeds in their beak, animals also, okay. So through their waste they are eating many things which are actually on the floor, they are eating from the floor, and just through their waste we are getting seeds are scattered here and there, and the plants are grows, so some grow up into trees. He added that branchy part of a tree above the stem is known as crown of the tree. You can see 17.6 figure here, the branchy parts of a tree which are above the stem, you can see here above the stem, so this is known as a crown of the tree. You can see here different kinds of crown, different shapes of there of the crown. You can see these are called the crown of the tree. Now Professor Ahmed asked children to look up and observe how the branches of the tall tree look like a roof over the other plants in the forest. So he told them that is called a canopy, means this is like a ceiling students. So Professor Ahmed asked to children to look up and observe how the branches of the tall trees look like, means this is looking like a roof, like a ceiling, okay, roof over the other plants in the forest. So he told them that this is called a canopy, means one kind of ceiling roof, it is called a canopy. So activity 17.2 I will explain in next video. Thank you.